Believe it or not, Black Ops Cold War is coming up on 3 years old already. I don't really like to think about that and how quickly time has gone, but with a full COD cycle nearly completed and Treyarch not up on deck for what's coming to COD next, a lot of players have been jumping back to Black Ops Cold War in 2023. Now, there's a larger reason at play here, but what's Black Ops Cold War like in 2023 if you were to jump on and try it for yourself? Does it hold up? Does Black Ops Cold War play better or worse than you remember in 2023? Today I want to jump in and touch a little on that and perhaps reignite a retrospective series we've had on the channel before, like we've done in most years, this year being the In 2023 series. Last year we didn't really do too much of this, but as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you find it idle and insightful, or you just enjoy the little throwback, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay updated with all things retrospective COD content like this, updates and guides as we go into Season 4 Reloaded, as well as other projects we've got here across other FPS titles in the near future. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage, where we just launched the Espresso bundle, but we'll touch on that a little later. For now, let's jump into it. So, Black Ops Cold War in 2023. Firstly, why is it back in the discussion, especially right about now? Well, if you missed it, Black Ops Cold War is actually free to play with PlayStation Plus for the entire month of July. And that's not necessarily something that is just, hey, you can jump in and play it for the month of July. You can download it and own it entirely for the month of July. So if you do not have it, while it's unfortunately not available for PC or Xbox right now, every single PlayStation user that has PlayStation Plus has the ability to get this game for free from now until the end of July. And again, it's not like a sort of trial period. It's you own it if you redeem it during this period. I've already seen a big influx of lower level players, but we'll get to that in a second when we talk about how the game plays in 2023. But if you haven't taken advantage of this just yet, you may have come to COD late. Cold War is accessible if you have Plus and should be right there on the dashboard PlayStation Plus tab, where you can go navigate to it, click it, and just hit add to library, and it's yours. Now, fair warning, it is a bit of a hefty download if you decide to do this, but afterwards, just like Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2019, and Modern Warfare 2, you do have the ability to remove segments of the game like campaign, zombies, or if you don't really care about the high resolution texture packs if you're not playing at 4K, a lot of that can free up storage for your hard drives. That said, let's talk about how it actually plays. Firstly, how's the player count within Black Ops Cold War in 2023? Well, unfortunately, player count has been hidden since the Black Ops 3 beta, but how quickly could you find matches? Well, it depends really, because some things are incredibly fast, others not so much. It really comes down to the playlist you are jumping into. But finding matches is a decent indicator as to how the player count is on an older game like this anymore. I'd say anything on that front featured tab is pretty easy to find a match of, but once you get into the quick play filter aspect, that's where you start to lose the ability to find matches relatively quickly. Things like TDM, still very easy, but when you go all the way to the bottom, things like combined arms, an increase in player count needed to start a match firstly, then tucked away underneath everything, it did prove to be slower going than others. One match I actually waited even a few minutes to find players, and finally when we had enough, I was excited to jump into it because it was like 5 to 6 minutes at that point, but then, well, the match just closed on me. Game lobby closed, so couldn't even play that. Just a waste of time on that, and we had to requeue for something else. But anyways, it's hit or miss again, depends on what you want to play. As for the players that you'll encounter, well, in terms of leveling, there's a lot of fresh level accounts here, but also a lot of veterans. I found that most of my lobbies were kind of almost a direct split of hardcore players either still grinding out the game or who have in the past and are returning now, and as well genuinely low-level players that seemingly have picked it up just for the last couple of days with PlayStation Plus being free to play. Players that have really yet to hit their first prestige or maybe didn't even complete those sort of military ranks to get out of unlocking everything. But in terms of skill levels, again, that's absolutely varied. Some matches absolutely got torched. Others, I played where I'm like, I definitely should not have gotten a kill. A lot of that does come down to those playlists that you do choose to play. Some of those featured modes will end up having a lot larger variation in skill level, but once you get down to those things that are more so grindy and hardcore player base only, things like your face-off 6v6, that stuff was insanely sweaty at points. So it really came down to what you were attempting to play, and honestly, when it comes down to that kind of stuff, while we can't see it, the player count does play a factor into that as well. If you have a lesser player pool, the players that are usually playing that are the ones that are probably more so grinding it out or aren't as casual per se. Mechanically speaking, the game itself has a very different movement and feel, as you probably remember if you've played before, or if you are new, it is something that this was kind of what I'd say is like the last arcade style COD game per se. Going back, it felt like a system shock because it was such a deviation to what we've become accustomed to with Modern Warfare 2, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 2019, as well as Warzone 1 back in the day as well. But in terms of movement and like map traversal, this is probably what I'd say is one one of the closest variations compared to classic CODs. Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, games like that, it does feel similar, I think, personally, or at least way closer to those than what we've seen with all the slide canceling and the movement metas of recent years. Gunplay, though, gunfights felt very good, I thought, with health and TTK being slower than Modern Warfare 2019, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 2. My aim, honestly, was poo-poo, but I mean, like, beyond that, headshots mattered, of course, but the up TTK was certainly something that was nice to have. You weren't getting melted from 2 shots, and you had the chance to counterplay if the other player didn't hit every single shot. You could turn on a dime, return fire, and sometimes get that kill, rewarding more so gun skill rather than patience if someone was, say, just sitting and ADSing on a doorway the whole time. So generally speaking, it was a nice refresh and change of pace here to go back to something that did feel more like the classic arcade twitch shooter that Call of Duty has been in the past. Even though in the primary year of support, Cold War wasn't my favorite Call of Duty, it is something that I still do enjoy going back from time to time and playing, and with it being something that is free to play for PlayStation Plus users, you have absolutely nothing to lose other than a little bit of your hard drive space, or honestly probably a decent chunk of your hard drive space. But realistically, if you don't like it, you can download it, install it, try it out, and worst case scenario, you uninstall. You lose nothing but a little bit of time, no monetary barrier of entry here right now at this point, so if you'd like to try it out, absolutely do so, I think. Now, before we wrap everything up, I do want to just touch on some pros and cons of Black Ops Cold War. Revisiting this here made me think about quite a few things that Black Ops Cold War did well and also didn't. So if you haven't played Black Ops Cold War, maybe this is something that can sway you one way or the other, but here's just what I think of it. Let's start out with the pros though. Firstly, from a top-down perspective of the game itself, honestly, I thought Black Ops Cold War had a killer campaign. If you're somebody that likes the storylines of games, you like the universe of Black Ops, or now a shared universe of a Call of Duty universe, this is something that does set that up pretty nicely. There's some ties in with Modern Warfare 2019. This story, I think, slots perfectly in the Black Ops universe that already existed without taking away from anything, and I think that it was a really fun campaign to play. Also, there's multiple endings to it, which is one of my favorite things in any game. I wish that COD would do that more, but I mean, I get it. For those that are trying to set up a more canon universe, multiple endings does kind of make that hard because only one of them can be considered canon, but it was a lot of fun to play around with. You got introduced to quite a few new cool characters. Zombies, I don't know if it's a hot take. I'm not nearly in tune with the zombies community nearly enough anymore, but I'm not a huge fan of the hand-holding at some points during the Easter eggs. Like, those are supposed to be tough, but I do quite enjoy how they made the game very accessible in areas for the masses of players. If you're a first-time Zombies player, this is something that really can help you out. Again, yes, kind of hand-holdy, but I'd probably say like 80% of what they end up doing in terms of making it more accessible was truly to reach larger audiences of zombies, not necessarily just make it easy for players to do things like Easter eggs. Storyline-wise, I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was the best, but gameplay-wise, it was fine to me. I had a good time with it. I mean, I actually even had almost as much time in Zombies as I did MP. Also really liked that we had camos available for Zombies to grind out as well. Dark Ether being nearly identical to the original Dark Matter. Really liked that. Still don't have DM Ultra, just didn't feel like completing the grind, but Dark Ether, absolutely. But now jumping more so into more specific things with MP, one of the big things that is just like unsung in this is map voting. We had the ability to vote for maps here at this, which we do not in Modern Warfare 2. We had face-off 6v6, which is something that I will absolutely always rave about, and if there's gunfight, I will absolutely always be like, bring in face-off 6v6. We have 3v3 in Modern Warfare 2, but 6v6 is just that extra added level of chaos that allows it to be shipment, but like not on shipment. You have more creative freedom to make these small-scale maps that are very small scale and just built for chaos. I love that. The create a class system for multiplayer was one that feels close to classic, not quite the pick 10 system or anything like that, but we also don't have weapon tuning. Again, I've kind of railed against that in the past where I think it's kind of convoluted. I think it's a little bit too in-depth, and it's something that contradicts the whole we're trying to make this game for casuals sentiment. Plus, it also really doesn't offer a whole huge benefit to begin with. So just give me something that I can throw on attachments, give me clearly labeled stats, which is something that also they have is in-depth weapon stats that showcases what each attachment will do to the overall weapon itself. Give me that kind of stuff and I'm good to go. I also love that Black Ops Cold War has a UI that doesn't suck. Modern Warfare 2, I've said it before, Warzone and what we have now, not great. It's something that is definitely built for a mobile platform, but I mean, for console and PC gamers, we kind of get screwed because of that. Yes, there are 100+ million monthly active users for COD Mobile, but I mean, we've had COD Mobile before this whole integration state, so why can't we have our own UI that works better for PC and console? That's just me. One big thing that I loved, and honestly I think is probably one of the coolest features that we had in Black Ops Cold War that I would have loved to see expanded upon, was the Prestige Shop. I would love to see this come back in the future at some point. I was hoping that it would be here from Modern Warfare 2. I really want to see this in Modern Warfare 3, or at least sometime in the future, where things like camos are available to grind out here for hitting master prestige levels. Prestige emblems and blueprints were really cool in Cold War. Calling cards I didn't personally care for, but I mean, they were there and they're cool. I just personally wish that for the emblem side, those custom prestige emblems, I wish those would have transferred into custom emblems in Warzone as well, not just being solely there for Black Ops Cold War. With everything being integrated even further with Warzone and what we have right now, maybe that's possible if they bring it back for this next generation with Modern Warfare 3 or whatever Black Ops game will be next here by Treyarch in 2024, but I would have loved to see that because I played way more Warzone and Black Ops Cold War than Cold War, so I wanted to sport out my Blackout Prestige Master custom prestige emblem. Next, Dark Ops Challenges was something that I absolutely love in every single Treyarch game. I wish that we'd see this kind of stuff happen within Modern Warfare games like Infinity Ward or what Sledgehammer may be doing this year. I think that those are just so much fun. Always fun to hunt and go after, and also to try and dig up. I did all the campaign ones, but strangely, a lot of the challenge-based stuff here within Black Ops Cold War was actually system specific. And I mean that in the sense of, like, I switched PCs to upgrade at the time what was the new 3090 GPUs for my PC, but all my progress was lost from Dark Ops because I had completed it on a different system. So every so often my showcase Dark Ops Mastery calling card would reset, and then I'd have to go back to that old PC, turn it on, and equip it from that system. So strange to me when everything else is cloud-based, but anyways, wasn't the biggest deal. Just love doing Dark Ops challenges. Theater mode is always great to have as well, something that is in Black Ops Cold War, though albeit it didn't seem like it got the love and attention that we'd seen in past years because there were still plenty of bugs with theater mode, even up until this day. So, but the base option of having it there to not have to record everything if you're a content creator, you could save stuff for later, or if you wanted to get into doing anything with the game, it was nice to have that as an option. Gunfight tournaments were awesome. We have those, of course, in Modern Warfare 2019, in Black Ops Cold War, but what I liked about this compared to prior years is that these were retroactive. Modern Warfare 2019, when we had gunfight tournaments, you had that like week or like sometimes even weekend to complete it and win it and get that blueprint reward. But gunfight tournaments in Black Ops Cold War, even today you could jump back in and play a gunfight tournament and still earn that first reward ever introduced for the AK-47. It's actually the only way that you can grind through and get all of them. There's a total of 12 different tournament rewards, so if you want that last LC-10 blueprint, you have to complete and win those tournaments 12 times. So you do still have the opportunity to go back and earn those older ones that you did not get, but also at the same time, double-edged sword, you can't just skip in line and go and get that LC-10 blueprint that you want from the last one. And the final thing that I want to touch on, I'm sure I could go on for quite a bit more, that I really loved about Black Ops Cold War is that you have streak listings for your kills. That's just such a small and minor HUD detail, but I hate that Modern Warfare 2, there's zero way to identify in real time what streak you're on. Yeah, you have those ribbons that pop up when you hit 5, 10, 15, and so on and so forth, but there's no counter with every single kill like you get in Black Ops Cold War, like you get in Vanguard, like you get in Modern Warfare 2019, or like any other Call of Duty game in the past. It was in the beta for some reason, but Infinity Ward just took it out. So we don't have that available anymore. But jumping over to, unfortunately, some of the cons that we got to talk about, there's not nearly as much here as opposed to what we talked about in terms of positives, so we're not going to really rail too much on this, but there's certainly a number of things that stood out to me going back and playing since this was reintroduced as a free-to-play title that just totally irk me. I'm going to miss a lot, but just want to touch on at least these. Firstly, the streak system itself. I said it back when Black Ops Cold War was the main title. It's built like requisitions from World War II. You're guaranteed a streak at some point. Personally, I don't think that's how that should work at all. I mean, it's a streak, not a timed reward. Cooldown also having that is a huge deterrent for aggressive play in my opinion. And sure, I get it, you don't want to over spam players with things like multiple attack choppers or man chopper gunners, but for things like UAVs, it's crazy to consider that you can easily get that in one life, but then you have to wait 60 to 90 seconds to be able to continue to start earning one again, just to start earning it again. Not just be able to call it in, but to be able to start going towards a streak again to get that. I also think that there were a lot of corny streaks that we had here with this, air patrol being the biggest one. You can take out a harp, a chopper gunner, or a gunship, any of those like high level streaks for 2,400 score. Again, that is not hard to get at all. One thing that I will say though that is pretty cool, it's definitely cool that they added a streak per season here as like DLC content, or at least looking back that's the case. I know people were upset with that in real time because, well, why didn't you just add that to the base game? But it is what it is. I thought it was cool here looking back on it. Personally, another thing that I find as a con is that snipers are still mad annoying. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm the grumpy old man yelling at the clouds or saying, get off my lawn. But I always hated playing against snipers in Cold War. I always felt like there was no flinch. And if like a sniper was looking at you, you just basically consider your streak over. You're dead. Maybe that was just my matchmaking experience, like dialed up to 11 and playing nothing but the most accurate of shots. But it was just so frustrating. And unfortunately, during my time, since this has gone free to play, I've still experienced that a lot. Spawns, I don't expect them to be working on these in place of their upcoming project for 2024, but like I had a sequence where I joined a game, the same game that I had just left, may I add, so that was funny that I found like the only active TDM game at that point apparently. But then when I joined back, I went to switch my class like as soon as you get in, and before I could, I was collateral sniped in my spawn with someone. So it's a bummer that that stuff is still happening, but again, at this point, like, what are you going to do about it? They're not going to go back and adjust spawn points. Anyways, maps also still very hit or miss. There's some great maps, some of the classics, the face-off maps, love those. But then you have things like Miami. Nobody wants to play Miami. And the final thing I'll touch on wasn't that bad here now, but in the prime was matchmaking. I had said that I didn't like Cold War during its main year, and honestly, I've also said it wasn't the game's fault. It was just, I felt exhausted having to play such a high level of like skill predicated matchmaking, where it was definitely trying to manipulate your playing habits. It was just exhausting to go into a public mode after a year of playing Modern Warfare 2019 doing the same thing and just being fatigued going every single game trying 110%, not even just to stomp noobs, but to like just compete and go positive. It was just exhausting in that sense. Now, yes, I'm sure there are people that are like, yeah, skill-based matchmaking, get that out of here. And then others that are just like, why are you complaining? But like, that's just how I felt. Thankfully, now as the game's older, that doesn't seem to be the case as much, but alas, that's how it was. But all in all, that's Black Ops Cold War in 2023. I think it's doing pretty well right now, and still, it does feel weird to me that it's nearly 3 years old at this point. But if you have PlayStation, or you just want to go back and jump in for yourself, you absolutely can. Fairly certain that exploit was something that has been patched up. Could be wrong on that, but I didn't experience anything here with this out of the last couple of days of playing. But anyways, that's where we're at with this. Before we wrap everything up, just want to take a few extra seconds to talk about Gamer Advantage. You've heard the pitch before. Truly think they're the best blue light glasses on the market with the most lightweight, comfortable, and durable frames out there. But if you've yet to pick up a pair for yourself, or maybe you want to get another pair, we just teamed up to launch the Espresso bundle. And what makes this bundle different is only a little bit, but it's a cool way to directly show some love to the channel. You get a pair of the Inferno glasses with our little coffee mug logo here etched into the frames, a microfiber carry pouch with a cleaning cloth, both branded with the channel's artwork, and a polarized magnetic sun clip. So super helpful if you have a prescription and they're your daily drivers. You can use them as sunglasses as well. But anyways, these are in limited stock, and I don't think we're going to be doing another batch of these for quite some time. So check them out, grab one if you still would like to, and use code Espresso to get 10% off your entire order. Once again, thank you to you guys for making this collaboration even possible and all the support in the past, but link in the description below. But that said, that is what we're going to call it now. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of Black Ops Cold War here in 2023? Have you gone back, played it at all? Does it live up to any of your standards? Fall short, exceed, whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Black Ops Cold War and retrospective content like this, Modern Warfare 2 with Season 4 Reloaded upcoming next week, and other FPS content like X Defiant and some other stuff we got cooking as well. I'd love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. I'm Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.